Hey everybody, it's Jeremy. Welcome back to the Slowest Blitz, where we are playing Asphodel. It's turn 40, and yeah, the stuff's happening. So we're gonna jump into things. We'll see how it goes. Cross our fingers, right? We have completed Alteration 7. We're heading up to Enchantment 7. Got some fun tools out of Alt 7. We'll see if they come in handy. Did some Summer Lions, some Draconians, and some Manticores. We'll take a look at those here in just a second. We've got some battles first. We have been attacked in Illidar. This is the Logrian / crossbow stack. There are actually a number of mannequins here. Not enough, unfortunately, to be able to deal with something like this, I don't think. Yeah. So, ranged units versus mannequins, really, really good. Not really much of anything. We didn't actually put a lot of PD here. We got a PD event, so that's pretty fortunate for us, but didn't really do much. We did kill 8 Logrian warriors. It's unfortunate to lose all these mannequins. Wish we could have shipped them out of there, but we did not. We were also attacked by a little stack of Knights of Avalon into basically nothing. 1 PD, so nothing going on there. We witnessed a battle in the Boar Woods as stack of Guardians and some Black Knights, as well as some Priest Smiths, are squashing some cavemen. Let's watch this. A little bit of speed, earth power, steel. Typical. Cavemen can slap, but they're not going to survive against anything like this. It's just a matter of, hey, did you... Oh, careful, friendly fire. Didn't lose anything, so that's good. We get attacked in Namor. Got the stack of longbows, some wolves as chaff. There's nothing here. Nothing gonna happen. We did lose... Or, he killed 3 of his own wolves, basically. And now we get into the real situation. So, Agartha did go for Shadowglade. And we have nothing there. Right? This is basically absolutely nothing. So that just gets mind burned down. Ooh, it looks like he almost burned somebody to death. Oh, he did burn. He burned an inattentive statue, it looks like. That's kind of funny. He is on Shadowglade, and Shadowglade is breached, which is not surprising. Our fortifications aren't especially thick, and that army has a lot of siege power in it. So, at the same time, we came in behind him in Shade Forest with a small stack of mannequins, and he actually did put some PD here. So, this could be a situation. Alright, so the flanking force kind of gets cut off. But it looks like we have enough mannequins to do... maybe not? Questionable? No, looks like we get it. Alright, so Shade Forest we take. We do lose a good portion of that stack, but we do take it. We also attack in Gold Mountains, just probing into his territory, or the old Bandar log territory. And there's a bit of PD here as well. Not a lot of archers, though, which is kind of the key point. Looks like we're gonna be okay. Looks like we are okay. So we also take Gold Forest, lose 4 Carrion Wolves, and 1 Satyr Mannequin. And then we are attacked in Mammoth Grove as well by a force of Knights of Avalon with some bards here, actually. So spamming out some luck. Kind of interesting. There's basically nothing here though, so easy peasy. That's kind of interesting, kind of neat. Unexpected events in Lovendalen: heat, death, lose population, gain unrest. That's unfortunate. In Kasevik, every single time I see that, get some gold, lose some unrest. That's nice. So the fort in Shadowglade is breached. We're under siege in Phaeacia, but he's not really committing to the siege. And there's a terrain change in Kepria. Cool. Okay, so there's really only one big situation happening this turn, and that is Shadowglade. So, as you can see by the massive arrows, we are launching a huge attack. It's entirely possible that he moves off of Shadowglade, and this huge attack does nothing. I don't think that's likely, though. Just generally with the mindset that a lot of players have when they march an army like this into somebody else's territory and they go directly for a fortification, normally that is a staking of a claim, especially in a situation like this, right, a 2v1, where it's like, okay, I am gonna pull, my job is to take this, my job is to take this territory or whatever, right? Like, this is what has been negotiated. Okay, I'm gonna march to that territory. Especially when you instantly breach someone, the typical reaction is to, okay, well, I'm going to storm it now, right? That might not be the case. He might just be like, oh, well, let's troll down here and let's roll around in this territory. But I don't think that that is going to be how this plays out. I think that he is going to stand and fight with the concept that, you know, I've got all these super big statues, right? They're not gonna die, especially with the reconstruction. I've got 40 magma children here. They've got fucking fire shield 10 AP. You know, they're gonna kill every fucking mannequin that looks at them. We've got earth elementals that are gonna be trampling, blah, 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 right? That, I believe, is probably the mindset that we have going on right now. It's possible that I'm wrong, but that is the assumption that I am making. And we're going to prove that as wrong as possible. Hopefully. Hopefully, right? So we are throwing, we'll take a look at exactly how that all is going down. But before we do that, we'll take a look at some of the other things. Phaeacia is kind of fucked. Right? We could see another big army over here. If this goes on Phaeacia, it's absolutely fucked. I am in negotiations about Phaeacia. We will discuss further what those negotiations are and how they look and what they mean for us. But we'll do that when the results of those negotiations actually start to come to fruition. Suffice to say, I don't think it's a huge mystery. There's not a lot of other people involved in this area. It's either Ulm, which we had planned to come in on our side against Man earlier on in the game, and that did not happen. It's Vanarus over here, who we have already had successful negotiations with, and it's Abysia over here, who is still not finished persecuting his war against Bandar law, right? So, it really is only looking like particular things. But we'll talk about that further when those things actually start firing off, and what that means for us. In the meantime, we are doing a little bit of recruiting. We did get that gold event. Probably, honestly, I should be banking more of the gold. I should probably stop producing even Black Minotaurs, and I should be banking, maybe just recruiting some, you know, maybe just recruiting some researchers, probably sages, you know, as I think about it. They're cheap, and the research ability is very good. That should probably be the mindset, but I'm kind of in the concept of, if I'm going down, I'm going to go down swinging. I'm not thinking as much for future concepts as I should be. That's been a bad habit throughout the entirety of this game. It's always been this mindset of, oh god, I need X power right now, or I need as much power right now as I can. Why? Let's do XYZ rather than kind of like future-proofing. We would not be in this situation if I had took a longer term view of things or had a better understanding of exactly how Asphodel, I think, should be played when I started things. But that's neither here nor there. We are here at this point, so this is what it is. So we're doing a little bit of recruitment. We're doing a little bit of summoning. We're getting another Carrion Lord down here in Monarch Woods. We are combining a bunch of forces into Forest of Pine, right? So 70 units, I think, has a pretty decent chance of popping this. And the intention is to just be a pain in the ass, right? Like, Agartha currently, after having attacked me for 2 turns, now has less territory than he started with. And that's the goal, right? Is to be like, hey, look, you came at me, I'm going to obliterate this army, and then I'm going to take your surface territory. and that's that. So, don't know if that's actually going to work out. We shall see, but we'll go in with that being the mindset. Aside from that, I think basically everyone but our Draconian Chieftain is moving in Asphodel. And basically everyone except for a very small amount. I don't know why I don't have him summoning allies. That's silly of me. But we are reanimating here. So the vast majority of our forces are going to Shadowglade. So let's take a look at this, right? We have 1275 units bearing down on Shadowglade. If he moves, this is going to be a hugely wasted turn, but I don't think that that's going to happen, right? So obviously we have the massive stacks of mannequins. We have a fair number of sacreds between things like Black Centaurs, Black Minotaurs, Sagittarian Carcasses, Carrion Furies, etc., etc. That all is coming into play. What is more important is the magic and how we plan on dealing with particular things. So we are doing a lot of Phantasmal Beast. Phantasmal Beast is pretty interesting and I think going to be relatively effective here. We won't go super into detail. We'll click on a Phantasmal Beast or 2 here or there if a battle happens. Watch that. And then we're doing a lot of miscellaneous stuff all over the place, right? So we've got some Phantasmal Beast casters kind of like in the front. Those are going to help us kill his heavy armored units, right? Aside from the fact that, we can still fatigue them. The Phantasmal Beasts won't give a shit about their armor and they'll just kill them, right? Well, kill them. Make them think they are killed, and then they die. We're spamming out some Frighten. That's probably not going to do much of anything. We're spamming out some Regrowth. We've got a Divine Blessing popping on the field, though I don't think we need that because we have our gods. Doing some Moss Body. We get into some of the big stuff. We are dropping Oaken Army. So Oaken Army is going to give everyone some natural protection, but it's also going to give us fire susceptibility. And he's got 40 Magma Children. So that is potentially a problem, right? We're also throwing out Relief. We're doing some group regeneration, body ethereal. We are communioning up. We have a lot of sages here. And so we're going to be doing some Army of Shades. We're also just doing some Mind Burn spam, personal regeneration for the communion, giant warriors, pretty regular stuff. So this is one of the plays that we are going for. It's hard to see, but there are actually several of these Dryad Hags down here in this southern quadrant. Now, it's entirely possible that he moves his people around, but not a lot of people do that. A lot of people, once they set up an army, they tend to not change around the positions of that army very frequently. So, we can see if we come into this battle that his Magma Children are all on this southern portion. And if we click through some of these, we can see 25 poison resistance, 25 poison resistance, 15 poison resistance, 15 poison resistance, and 15 poison resistance. So most of this front line, right, is resistant to the poison that we could do. They have 25 poison resistance. This is kind of like backline of the Shard Guard. They are more apt to it. Their Bless does not have any additional poison or anything like that. But this section, the Magma Children, only have 15 poison resistance. And they're a problem, right? Like, the whole concept of the 10 AP Fire Shield, realistically, the 10 AP Fire Shield, and the fact that their Flame Strike is an area of effect, so it can delete multiple mannequins at a time, is a concern. But they only have 17 HP. They don't have a lot of protection. What we're doing is armor piercing or armor negating. I don't remember. Doesn't matter, right? They are most likely going to be targets for that venom. For the venomous death, right? So this venomous death deals, it's armor negating. Deals 25 armor negating damage, poison damage, right? And has decay on it. It's going to prioritize those Magma Children. And it's unlikely to kill them, right, in a single hit, but it could get very close to dropping them. And like I said, we actually have quite a few venomous death casters down there. I think we're at like 5 or 6 of them, something like that, spamming that out. So the hope is that even if these Triad Hags only kill 10 or so of the Magma Children, that's going to make a big difference in dropping them down. We also have the Summer Lions just out in front, with the hope that they are going to eat some of the attention of the Magma Children with their 50 fire resistance, 55 HP, decent bite and claw, right? The hope is that they will do a decent counter. Now, they will, set our own people on fire, but it kind of just is what it is. So between those two things, the hope is that we are going to deal a fair chunk of damage to the Magma Children, negate them somewhat, take a little bit of a hit on this stack of mannequins, which is intentionally there, right, to deal with them. And then we also have our Sagittarian carcasses behind them on fire closest. So Sagittarian carcasses, we have way more than this. This is just one squad. Where's the other squad? Where's the other squad? Oh, there it is. Right, so we have a shit ton of Sagittarian carcasses. And this Carrion bow actually deals a decent amount of damage. And those Magma Children do not have very much armor, right? Like, they only have 8 protection. So the hope is that between the venomous deaths, the arrows raining down towards them, the magma lions sitting in front of them, that whole situation, that the Magma Children get negated, basically. And I think the Magma Children are part of the confidence in dealing with someone like Asphodel, right? Because you're like, oh, every mannequin that attacks a Magma Child is basically dead, right? Is the generalized concept. And then every time a Magma Child hits a square of mannequins, that whole square of mannequins is dead, right? Is the kind of concept. But we're not gonna really do that. We're gonna use several other tools to just obliterate the Magma Children, and then the rest of the guys aren't really that scary via comparison, right? They're very high armor. We don't care. We're just gonna fatigue you down and then kill you. Whatever, right? Like, not a big deal. So that's the generalized game plan. Continuing on past the Venomous Deaths, you see, more Moss Bodies, more Body Ethereals. A lot of that is going into things like Carrion Behemoths, a lot of Body Ethereal, Carrion, Behemoth combos. Most of the Moss Bodies are going up on our Sacreds in this big contingent of Black Centaurs and Black Minotaurs, etc., etc. We do have a Will of the Fates going up, just for extra shits and giggles. Giant Strength Warriors on, again, the Black Centaurs, Black Minotaurs section, just so that they are really killy and can chop through the high protection. And then we also have some other fun stuff. I think we only have, like, 2 casters of this, I believe. Got that one, and I think we have another one. Yeah, so we have this other one. So we're doing some Summon Earth Power, Maws of the Earth, right? And those are, again, down here in this stack versus the Magma Children. So Maws of the Earth, big area of effect, does 15 plus armor piercing damage, and it is a strength plus DNR versus 23 to get free, or else you get stuck. And the Magma Children don't actually have very high strength. Most of these things have decently high strength, right? Actually, not even the Shardgar have that much strength. But the Magma Children specifically do not have very much strength. They are very likely, if these go off, they are very likely to not be able to break free of the 23 kind of like DC scenario there. So that is, I think, going to mean that this southern section just pops, right? Between all of the Venomous Deaths, between all of the Maws of the Earth, the Summer Lions, the Sagittarians, I think that bottom section is just going to get deleted, right? Is the general idea. Other things that we are throwing out, aside from, again, more Phantasmal Beasts, we are doing, between our gods, on the top side, we have a bunch of Flame Wards going off. Now, this is on the top side. Why we got Flame Wards going off? Because we could be wrong, right? We could call this incorrectly. He could swap around his army, and this could be a huge issue. Now, Flame Ward isn't going to make us super resistant, right? But it is going to get rid of the fire vulnerability from the Oaken army, right? So we have that going off on our Sacreds. We have Fog Warriors going off in our Sacreds. And then down south, we actually have Fire Resistance, which is the same thing. It's just the water version of the spell going off on our Carrion Behemoths, basically. And that's pretty much it. We have Howl, we have Puppet Mastery to make sure everything's faster. And we have a shit ton of Mind Burn. I think the Mind Burn's actually going to do fairly well. But most of the sages that we have in here are Communion Slaves, so it is what it is. Anyways, I am relatively confident that this is going to be a big victory, as long as he doesn't change much of what is going on. I think if he had brought 10 plus more mages, this would be a very different situation, and we'd have a lot more to be concerned about. But at the end of the day, I don't think 2 Oracles of the Ancient, an Olm Sage, and an Earth Reader are going to have the firepower or the buff power to keep this army going against this fucking army, right? So that's a big deal. I am okay. So here's the hope. My hope is that we completely obliterate this army, right? And he has 258. My hope is that we lose less than we kill, which isn't something that you would normally expect from, undead armies, like mannequin armies, right? But I think truly, if we delete the magma children, I don't think the rest of what he's packing there is going to matter nearly as much, right? If it was 100 magma children and they were all out in a line, I would be way more concerned with how the fuck are we going to actually execute this in a meaningful way to diminish our losses. But that's not the case, right? The case is that he's only got 40 magma children, and there aren't enough mages to support them, to do buffs on them, like to marble warriors them or something like that to make them a little tankier. I think we're going to wither them / magic them down, and that's gonna be that. But that might not be the case, so we'll have to cross our fingers. So that's gonna be the big play, and that's pretty much it. We have nothing else really going on. We've got some stealthers moving around. Man seems content, and I'm actually very happy about this. Don't get me wrong, I'm not happy about losing Phaeacia. This sucks, right? Like, this is a death knell for us. Regardless of how punitive we are towards Agartha or what grief we can cause man, losing the Phaeacian territories is basically, okay, well, that's it. GG. However, by man focusing more on Phaeacia like this, and not really coming at us hard while Agartha is, marching an army into us, it's kind of giving us free shot at being like, okay, well, fine, we'll smash the Agarthan army, and then we'll turn back around and continue what we're doing with man, right, is the general idea. And maybe, I doubt this is going to work out this way, but maybe if this works out in a perfect situation, things don't go well, or things go well for us against Agartha, we take Agarthan territory, and then we go, okay, well, we lost Phaeacia, time for Agartha. Because we don't really care about fighting underground that much, right? Like, most of these things have Spirit Sight, no penalties from darkness, right? So, kind of whatever. That, not the case for our Black Centaurs, but other Sacreds that are undead, they also don't give a shit, right? So, that is, I think, pretty much it. Not really anything else going on right now because we're mobilizing basically everything. And we'll see how the results are and go from there. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye, everybody. Hey, everybody. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, consider leaving a like, commenting, or subscribing. It really helps me out. If you'd like to see me live, head over to my Twitch at twitch.tv/thedistanthorizon.